Hi, welcome to Jamie's Product Reviews, Tracy's very own food and toy product reviewer. Yes, this is one of the new figures from, I believe it's either Wave 6 or Wave 7 of Masters of the Universe Origins figure. And this is the ETERNIAN Goddess, the guardian of the power in the universe. If you remember the old mini comics from the vintage line, she was introduced in one of the early stories where He-Man had a totally different origin story as far as how he came to be. Because, obviously it wasn't like later in the Filmation cartoon where, he was Prince Adam and the sorceress introduced him to, hold up the sword and by the power of Grayskull and become He-Man. Well, in the old mini comics, it was totally different. There was no Prince Adam, there was no sorceress, and He-Man actually originated as his origin story was that he was a jacked up, half naked barbarian known as Oo-Lar, and he was a member of some tribe. But then one day he decided to set out on his own. And that's when the ETERNIAN Goddess, back when she was known as the Green Goddess, I guess she's kind of like an early form of a sorceress in a way. She chose Oo-Lar to be the new He-Man, who would be the ultimate hero of Eternia. And she introduced him to all these powers, and also some clothes as well. So he would be running around half naked like he did as Oo-Lar, wearing nothing but a sleepy little loincloth. Yeah, I mean, she introduced him to his boots, his gauntlets, his belt, his chest armor, which is supposed to protect him, or at least in the mini comics it was supposed to protect him. But also she introduced him to his weapons that he's known to have, like the power sword and the battle axe and the shield. Although we never saw the axe or the shield in the Filmation cartoon. And from there he became He-Man. And there was no Prince Adam, there was no, I don't think there even was a King Randy or Queen Marlena, or even a royal palace. It was just, He-Man built his house out of stone, and there weren't very many characters because it was early, as the whole Masters of the Universe was still in early development. There was Man-Arms, there was Teela. The thing with the goddess and Teela, it's kind of confusing in a way. It's like the Eternian Goddess, she was the original version of the sorceress, and then later, I guess, that as you see her, that's what Teela looked like early in the mini comics, except she wasn't all green, and she was known as a goddess, with the snake armor and all that, and the staff of Ka. Although Teela, as she appeared in the mini comics, was nothing like she would later appear in the Filmation cartoon. In the Filmation cartoon, she didn't have that snake armor or the staff of Ka. She had more warrior type qualities, like be the captain of the royal guard and the adoptive daughter of Man-Arms, and Prince Adam's mentor, and more heroic roles. And anyway, I'm rambling, and this isn't about Teela. This isn't even about He-Man. It's about the Eternian Goddess. So let's get her unpackaged, and we'll check her out. Maybe we'll do a comparison to the Teela action figure. So let's do this. Here she is in all her green glory. the Green Goddess, oh excuse me, Eternian Goddess. So it comes with this mini comic, Rockin' a Hard Place, and I read this comic, and reading this just added to the confusion about the whole story about the goddess. I mean, in the original mini comics, when there was no Prince Adam, and she was just introducing Oo-Lar to the powers that he needed to become He-Man. But here, she actually meets with Prince Adam, who actually calls upon her, and she tells him, "Do you remember why you were found worthy of the legend of He-Man? Because you're He-Man, sword or no sword." But that's not what Prince Adam did on the Filmation cartoon. He wasn't able to utilize He-Man's powers as Prince Adam, that I recall. So this kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This is not very faithful to what the Filmation cartoon was, as far as how they portrayed Prince Adam. I always thought that he needed to be He-Man, which is why he became He-Man in the first place. If he can do all these things as Prince Adam, according to this comic, then what's the point of becoming He-Man and even needing a secret identity in the first place? I don't know. It's just so weird. I'm not going to try to figure it out. But anyway, here's the mini comic, and it utilizes the other characters in the way that, like Stinkor and Webstore, and I can't wait to get those. The Green Goddess. It's basically Teela in green, because, as you remember, Teela, when she came out in the Origins line, she had the snake headdress and the staff of Ka and the shield, just like the vintage version had. But I've always been fascinated with the Green Goddess. Oh, Eternian Goddess. Green Goddess, Eternian Goddess, what's the difference? Yeah. Because there's something about her. She's got like a... People are very... I think a lot of people are very fascinated with her because of the fact that something about her being introduced in the old mini comics, and she never got a figure in the vintage line. She didn't get a figure until the classics version came out years ago. But it's nice that we're seeing her in the Origins line. Something about, a Teela look-alike in green. I don't know. She's unique. And I just like her. I just dig her. Yeah. So, let's go over the articulation. Her head. Well, obviously her head's going to be hindered by the snake armor. But the snake armor can be removed. I'm not going to remove it. But when it's not being hindered by this, it has the same movement as the other heads. Arm moves out. Moves up and down. Bend at the elbows. Twist the wrist. Turn at the waist. Legs move out. Bend at the knees. Turn and boot cut. And feet move up and down, and they kind of rock side to side. Oh, I forgot to mention, there is something different about this figure that differs from the Teela figure, and that's that it's got these new knees that look a lot more like knees instead of the wonky look that the Teela figure had. So yeah, the knees in the female figures are evolving really nice in the Origins line. And of course, since she's basically a Teela look-alike in green, I guess it's only fitting that she comes with the same accessories as Teela did, which is the Staff of Ka. Or at least that's what Teela's version was called. I don't know what you would call the Goddess's version, but anyway, here it is, and it comes with the same shield as well. So you can just stick her staff in your hand, if I can get it to actually fit in her hand. I don't really know why she needs this stuff. I mean, unless she's gonna do battles herself. But anyway, here she is in case she needs to lend a helping hand to the heroic warriors. But then again, she may also be kind of like Zodak in a way. She's also displayed as kind of a tweener between the heroic warriors and the evil warriors, because if you also remember, as it's displayed in the back of the package, she is seen splitting the power swords in half, which is how that came to be, as far as Skeletor and He-Man each having their own halves of the power sword, and of course you need both halves to enter Castle Grayskull. So she was able to, compromise a little bit and not just show favoritism toward the heroic warriors like Zodak, and she was considerate enough to give Skeletor his own half of the power sword, even though he didn't really deserve it. But be that as it may, this is the Green Goddess, ready to introduce He-Man to his some more powers, and maybe even help out once in a while, and the heroic warriors fight for freedom. So that's my review of the ETERNIAN Goddess. Got it right this time, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. I almost forgot. As I promised, I thought I would compare her with Teela side by side. There really isn't much to compare other than the skin color. Goddess is green and Teela is the typical human peach. And, same armor, same weapons, same figure, same clothes. Yeah, it's hard to tell who's imitating who here. It's hard to tell who's the real deal, and it's hard to tell who plays what role, and so I guess imitation really is the truest form of flattery. Bye-bye.